I'm like in this place that's caught in between multiple worlds. Like I've got my coffee shop, I've got tattoos, I've got stretched ears. And then also when people are like, what do you do? My first answer is I love to hunt more than anything. I am both of these things. I'll wear my camo to my coffee shop and I'll bring my coffee out into the duck blind.
So worried about what other people think. Stop standing on your own 2 feet. Spend time in the rearview mirror. The road ahead won't get any clearer. So close your eyes, throw up your head, dance to the rhythm and sing out loud. Get lost in the crowd. Get lost in the crowd.
I mean, the reason I have Joe here is because he knows what he's doing. He's a long-range shooter. So say we have an antelope at 400 yards.
Yes, off the top of my head, at 400, you're probably going to be somewhere around 12 minutes of angle.
Okay.
I can see it in between those targets. It's just dead on.
Get it. Hold 1.5 minute of angle in your reticle.
Ring the steel. Nathaniel and I grew up together in Lebanon, Missouri. We had reconnected through hunting.
The thing I love about Isaac Neal is that he doesn't look like a cookie cutter hunter, because he's not. He's got tattoos, he's got piercings, and he owns a coffee shop downtown. Hunters have always been sort of within this box that Isaac doesn't fit in, and that's a great thing. It's guys like him who are going to spread the word about hunting and fishing and all the wonderful things that we love to a whole new group of people. One of the tricky things about hunting out west, especially for all of us from the Midwest or the South, is trying to figure out if I want to hunt for antelope or elk, do I have to put in for a draw? How many years am I going to have to wait to get a tag? And there are some other options out there. The way it works in New Mexico is if you get permission from a private landowner, you can go buy a private land antelope tag over the counter, go to Walmart, and that will allow you to kill an antelope on private land if you have permission from the landowner.
Hey. Yeah. What's up with this? Does it expand into like a tent? We can.
From what I understand, antelope, this is a cattle ranch, so this will allow us to.
I like those realistic flies on there.
I actually was gonna put on an ear tag to kind of customize it.
I love it.
Didn't have time.
Yeah, okay.
This late August New Mexico antelope season, it's only a 3-day season, and we got to hunt on Jay's property. So right off the bat, Jay took us through his ranch and we saw a nice group. The problem is, we paid Jay to hunt his property, but we weren't the only ones. There are 2 other guys there, and the half of the ranch that they were hunting was the half of the ranch where we saw that nice buck. So we started working toward the side of the ranch that we were going to be hunting. Jay knew where the antelope would be, and they were there. I'm just saying, there's not a ton of contour to work with here. You know what I mean? So if we see one,
We'll have that now ready.
so the first morning, we got in there early. We set up where we had seen the buck the night before. It wasn't long before we spotted the buck, but the problem is it was about 300 yards in on a neighboring property.
Looking that way. You see a window? Yeah, it looks like that's the contour in there. Yeah. We're sitting at an angle.
spent most of the morning watching the buck, hoping that he would cross the fence. At one point, he started heading our direction, so we put our boots on the ground and started working our way toward him, trying to get set up.
Yeah, there's like a little gully there all down there. He's not far from the fence at all, but now he's angling away. The problem with that really nice buck is that he's on someone else's property. So.
Unfortunately, he never crossed the fence. He was never on the property that we were hunting. So we decided to move to the other side of the property. As soon as we got to the other side of the property, we saw a group of 4 bucks about 2,000 yards away. So we decided to get down in the canyon and work our way around and try to get in front of them.
Obviously, we had the tracker on, so that's where we drove to. We looked down about 700 yards.
Contour here, I feel like we could just pop over a ridge at any point and see him.
We got where we thought we could get a view of that group of 4 bucks, and I slowly looked up over the hill and saw them about 500 yards away. And one of them saw me as well.
Do you want to get out the cow?
One of them was looking at me.
It wasn't 3 minutes, and we looked up, and those 4 bucks were right in front of us.
382, 389, 411, 452, 475, 500.
They give you a real short window. They're curious, and then when they decide that you're a threat, they give you a real short window, and then they are out of there.
One thing that we learned about antelope that we knew a little bit about but hadn't experienced is that they're really curious. This situation showed us just how curious they can be. They saw the movement, but they didn't know what I was, and so they closed the distance from 500 yards really quickly. It may have been a situation where we could have gotten in another area and tried to get in front of those antelope again, but unfortunately, from about 1.5 miles away, we watched those antelope head to the gravel road. We saw a truck stop, shoot the biggest buck of the group, load it up, and get out of there. So at that point, we knew that this property was pretty much done for the day.
That sucks.
The second day of the season started just like the first day. We set up in the big field and glassed. This time, we saw more bucks, all on neighboring properties. Different properties than we had seen them on the first morning, but still on neighboring properties. And it kind of played out like the previous day where we waited for them to cross the fence, and it never happened. We sat there until 10 or 11 in the morning waiting for one to cross the fence, and finally decided that it wasn't going to happen.
Everything we've seen has been on the neighbor's properties. 5 miles into the neighbor's property. It's like, oh, that's a nice buck, but he's really far away. And he's not coming toward this property. Yeah, they're nowhere near here. They just don't like this land. It's just we have really good optics so we can see 5 miles away.
So at the end of day 2, we had hunted really hard and just came up empty-handed. It was feeling like we may not have a film here. We may not have any meat in the freezer.
At that point, the 2 guys who were hunting the other half of the ranch had already killed. They killed the first morning. So we went back to talk to Jay about coming up with a new plan and maybe hunting the other side of the ranch now that the other guys were gone.
How are you, Jay?
Well, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Over there by the big hill, there's an entrance and a cattle guard. You can pull through the cattle guard and wave your way up on top of that Pleachy hill.
Jay says, hey, get up in the morning, wait till the sun starts to rise, park down in this field and walk up over the hill toward this big windmill. And there will be a pronghorn buck standing below the windmill. The landowner knows best. So we did what Jay told us to do.
That played out exactly like he said.
Yeah, it actually did.
It's an odd thing to do when you look at society, when you look at the world we live in today, to go out into remote places and try and kill an animal or fool an animal. It's a weird thing to most people, and so the shared experience with fellow hunters, the fellowship there, it's like something that's really hard to explain, and it's really hard to explain why I feel like I need to do this, and it's not at all necessary. I can go to the grocery store, I can buy my food, but getting a sunburn, going without sleep, doing without food, all for the sake of this unexplainable thing, there's nothing like it.
Yes, punching a tag is amazing, and being able to do what we came to do feels really good. But ultimately, I think this is one of those trips where Isaac's gonna go back to the coffee shop. He's gonna tell people about this experience he had, and maybe someone that Isaac encounters in his day-to-day life in downtown Springfield may be pointed in the direction of buying a tag and trying to hunt this fall because of this experience and because of the memories that we made and the stories that we're gonna share.